Okay, now I'm gonna hit the Facebook Live button, and it's gonna take just a second. So I'll announce when we're actually live and up on Facebook.
Okay,
All right, here we go.
good.
Okay, we're live on Facebook. It's Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, Friday, 2:12 p.m. Eastern, interview with the author. Today we have the honor and pleasure of interviewing Steve D. Bullock, who just published his memoir. My name is Steve Delano Bullock, How I Changed My World and the World Around Me Through Leadership, Caring, and Perseverance. And this is a handbook of how to have a happy, good, determined, successful life. So, welcome, Steve. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Steve, let's get started. You are the former president of the American Red Cross. You have a remarkable story that truly exemplifies the American dream because you were born the son of a sharecropper in North Carolina, one of 22 children, the first to go to finish college, and you rose to this wonderful humanitarian position where you could fulfill your life mission of helping people around the world. So can you please tell us why you decided to write a book about that?
Well, actually, initially I was going to simply write my biograph. It's just tell the story of my life and for my family. My father, William Henry Bullock, was one of 7 children of my grandfather, Lewis. And as of now, as far as we can determine, there's very little written about my father's family. So initially, what I wanted to do was to put something in writing that would be passed on to other generations about the William Henry and the Ida Mayo family. But then I looked around as I began to do the research for the book and decided that my life was about being successful for myself, but also to sharing with others in my family and the world for that matter. So I decided that the book should be something that could be shared and there would be some benefit beyond my family. So uh, I reached a point where I decided that I really wanted to write a book that talked about life strategies for improvement and for success. And that's what I think we put together. So I'm very happy about the book. I want it to be read, and I hope that it will be of benefit to others. I know that there must be a few other Steves and Stephanies out there, maybe by other names, whose life could benefit from my experience.
And how could they benefit?
Okay, I didn't get all of your question.
So if someone were to read your book, how would they benefit from your message?
Well, they, their life, of course, the circumstance would not be the same as mine, but the book really talks about how to face successfully the challenges that we all will face in life. Their challenges will be different than mine, but I grew up in my early life was probably I was the poorest person in every aspect of life. My education was poor. We attended public schools. We had no library when I was in elementary school. In fact, when I was in high school, we barely had a library, and there was a library in the city, but we were not allowed to use it. Later on in life, I did get to see it and realize I didn't miss anything because there wasn't anything in the city library either. So uh, access to information, access to the world, access to things that would teach me about the world was grossly lacking. And I know that there are other people who are living, as I said, their circumstance will be different, but the book deals with faith and hope and the ability and the interest, the commitment to stay the course and stay focused on achieving your life's purpose. It starts with having to determine what your purpose is. So if someone reads this book, I believe they will get some benefit out of helping to organize their own life or their own lives, and to figure out how to respond to the challenges that they meet. My approach was to plan and to have a purpose, and then to prepare and then perform in my life the things that I needed to do in order to achieve my purpose. They may have a different formula, but having a formula and a plan, I think is greatly important.
Absolutely. So you had a plan for writing this book. You realized you needed help, and you thankfully
Yes.
sought us to help
Well,
you.
I did realize that I needed help. I actually at the start I attended some workshops on how to write a book, but I met General Colin Powell in 1996 or 97. We were back and forth with each other, attending meetings representing large nonprofits. I was there representing the Red Cross, and he was representing his own organization that he had created. This was before he became Secretary of State. And as we, from time to time, we talked about our lives, he finally said to me, "Do you plan to write a book?" And I said, "I do. At some point, I will write a book." And his response to me was, "If you write a book, you should collaborate with someone who has written a book successfully." So I took his advice, and one day I met somebody by the name of Elizabeth Ann Atkins. And it was at the regional meeting of a fraternity, one of the fraternities that I belong to, Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, known as the Bullock. We were at the regional meeting in Detroit, and I met Elizabeth there, and picked up a book. Well, actually, I didn't pick up the book. She shoved the book at me and said, "You need to buy this book." That's what she did. And she wrote the book for someone else, just as she did for me. So I bought the book, and I liked what I read, and then I got to know more about her, and decided that I would see if I could get her to help me write my book, and that's how we ended up where we are with Atkins Greenspan, now published. I can say that, right? Now published.
Yes,
And hopefully,
finally, right?
hopefully it will soon be in the hands of a lot of people.
Yes,
And I hope that I get to meet some of them. And by the way, if I may, I'd like to just say thank you to the people that I know, friends from the Red Cross and from my family. I don't know if the others from my other pillars, PILLARS, as you will get to know about if you buy and read the book. And I did say buy and read the book. I want to be as generous as I can, but I also want a lot of people to read this book. And I can't give them all away, but hopefully the book will be bought and will be read, and someone will benefit, I hope.
Mm-hmm. So absolutely, Steve. I mean, when I was writing it, I was learning so much about your perseverance and your vision making a way out of no way. So powerful, controlling yourself in situations that were just absolutely devastating and enraging. Extremely powerful messages about integrity and a personal code of conduct, and ambition and helping others, giving back. Very powerful and inspiring story. So one thing, Steve, I love to hear you talk about why you liked working with me specifically, because I had to recreate some scenes from your childhood in North Carolina, and I wasn't there. So my fiction writing background, in addition to my
Okay.
journalistic background and writing nonfiction books, all came together to enable me to recreate your childhood. Can you talk about the importance of that, please?
Yeah. Now, again, I'm missing some of what you're saying, but I think I got the message basically. You're talking about the fact that you are a fiction writer and nonfiction
Yes,
writer, correct?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
This takes me back to some of the conversation that I had with Colin Powell. Uh, we talked about how to tell the story, tell your story. Well, it occurred to me that Elizabeth had the ability to tell stories, and I really wanted my book to be a compilation of my story, to be a compilation of stories in my life, and I think that was a good choice because of the way the book is written. It has all of the power, as using the word, all of the power and the essence of uh, a good, how to live and build a good life. But it also is interesting. I mean, I find it interesting now, and I know the story, so I hope
Right.
that
Yeah.
I know this was a good choice, and I I want to just drop this here. I pray if the Lord gives me a few more years that there'll be a couple other books, and I want it to be a part of a continuing story, but different aspects of the
Mhm,
story.
mhm.
So I am not signing a contract with Atkins Greenspan at this point, but I am working on the second book.
Excellent, excellent. So while we're talking, I just want to give credit. It was Roy Roberts' book signing where I met you, Steve. So I want to thank Roy
Yes,
Roberts
right.
inviting me to the Boulay event where I was able to meet you and write your book. And then I want to thank my sister Catherine for handling the publishing arm of Atkins and Greenspan Writing, because she handled all the details of all the photographs we compiled, the formatting, the cover design, everything. So it's all teamwork, and we're very grateful.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Roy, and thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
Um, Steve, I wanted to also talk with you about the idea of having a plan and talking about leadership in the book, because leadership is a huge theme in your life. You felt a sense of leadership as a child, and you continued it, and you were selected as a leader time and again. Can you talk about the importance for everybody to be a leader in what we do?
Well, I don't know that I'm saying that everyone should be a leader, uh, although I would say that everyone has the capacity. I believe all of us have the capacity to be leaders at some level. Uh, and then I guess really you could take it all the way back to the family,
Mm.
just within one's family. There's the opportunity and often the necessity of one being able to sort of take the leadership um, when the time is right. And I guess a big part of this is two things. One needs to be prepared uh, to lead, and the second is one needs to know when to lead. Uh,
Mm.
and that's not always easy, but if we step back and pay attention to what surrounds us, and again have some understanding of purpose, and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Uh, I think there will come the time when one would need to be prepared and take the leadership. And I think you get some. I can't mention all of the points in the book, but I think you get some idea from the book. Now I can remember. I'll say this. I can remember in the Red Cross, for example. I used to. I was an assistant to the CEO or had some other position, and reported to the CEO. And my peers and I would always talk. Well, we hope Mike and Joe and Sam will do what needs to get done at this next leadership meeting. And then one day it occurred to me, it is time for us to lead now. And I was kind of myself and some of the people that you've talked with Elizabeth, like Bob Bender and Jim Kruger, we were peers. And so my comment to them, it's now time for us to lead. And I reached that conclusion because I did not feel that we were moving in a direction in terms of making the Red Cross an organization of the day and not yesteryear, which is some of what was going on during those years. And I'm not in any way saying that to be critical. It's just that we were paying attention. I paid attention, and so did my peers, to what was going on in the organization, and reached a point where we believe it was time for, if we're going to go where we think the organization needs to go, it is time for us to lead. So we put ourselves in a position to lead. And I think you do that by bringing some value to the conversation and to the whatever the activity is that's going on, but especially try to bring some value to the some value and some vision to the conversation of the time. And we found a way to do that, and I'm happy that we did, and I thank God for it.
Well,
and I think the Red Cross for the opportunity that it allowed me during those years, because the years were very challenging. I'm sorry I cut you off.
Oh, we were just going to express our gratitude to you, Steve, for giving us the opportunity to showcase your story for the whole world. And there's something in there for everybody. I learned so much about strategizing my own life from your message. So I know that your book is going to uplift and inspire many, many people around the world.
Okay, well, now, I did not pay you to say that, but I appreciate it very much.
So, very importantly, it's so beautiful. It's in hardcover. We love the design of it.
We have it here. This actually is a soft copy, but
right. I have the hardcover here. So it's got a beautiful jacket with your photo inside, and the back has quotes from people talking about what an exemplary leader and person you are. And it's just chock full of pictures. Here's you with Walter Cronkite. Just awesome. So it's beautiful. It's available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook, and it's available on Amazon.com. And Steve is also everywhere. Yes, Barnes & Noble. And Steve is lining up a bunch of book signings and speaking engagements across the country. So hopefully, if you're watching this, you will be able to follow on our website, AtkinsandGreenspan.com, where you can see where Steve will be appearing and maybe get to meet him yourself.
Very good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And Steve, I just want to share a couple of comments that came on the Facebook Live. Your daughter Kelly says, "Yes, congratulations, Daddy," with a big heart. And then Irene Bullock Overton says, "Proud of you, Uncle Steve." And Andrea Battle Sims says, "Proud to know Steve Bullock and hear his story." So that's really cool. So thank you.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
Excellent. Thank you.
Steve. This has been Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, live interviews with the author. We're on Facebook Live every Friday at 2:12 Eastern, and we hope to see you next week. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you again.
That was great.
You were
Well,
awesome,
thank you.
Steve. Yeah, you were
I
great.